All right, as promised, we're going to be rationalizing denominators in this one. We talked about it a few videos back, but this is one we're actually going to get into it. So again, the reason this exists is kind of an old school thing, but like if mathematicians saw 2 divided by the square root of 2, what they did is they said, well, that's terrible because that is 2 divided by 1.414, and this goes on forever. So what they did instead is they said, well, what we could do is if I multiply this by square root 2 and square root 2, this would make my denominator the square root of 4, which I know is 2. So what that can do is I can do 2 root 2 divided by 2. So now what they could do is they would do 2.828, goes on forever, divided by 2, which is so much easier. They could have also simplified 2 over 2 is 1, so 1 root 2, so they'd get the same thing of 1.414, blah, 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 blah. And they could say, well, that's my answer. I don't need to find the other decimals because that's a close enough approximation, rather than trying to divide 1.414 into the number 2. So that's all this is really used for. We'll get into more of this stuff as we go. It's going to be a pretty quick video. It's pretty short. All right, so rationalizing the denominator, and then we will simplify this. So my denominator here is root 3. So what I'll do is multiply by the denominator, root 3 and root 3. So this becomes 9 root 3 over root 3 times 3 is root 9, so 3. Then notice I have 9 divided by 3. So 9 divided by 3, since they're both outside the square root, can divide. 9 over 3 is 3, so this becomes 3 root 3. And that's it. All right, same idea with part B, rationalizing the denominator. So I can multiply by the denominator that I have currently, since it's just a lone number, so root 6. So this would become 4 root 6 over 6. Notice 4 divided by 6 reduces, so they are both outside of the square root, so they can reduce to 2 over 3. So 2 root 6 over 3. That is as far as it will simplify. You cannot simplify into the square root or cube root or any type of radical. You can only simplify things that are outside or things that are inside together. Do not cross boundaries. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is called the conjugate. So what the conjugate is essentially just changes the sign in the middle. It's like perfect or difference of squares. So like if we think about x minus 2 times x plus 2, these are conjugates of each other. When I multiply them together, the cool thing that happens is that the middle terms go away, and this just becomes x squared minus 4. So you'll see in a minute how this helps us out. But the conjugate here could just be 2 minus 3 root 2. That's it. So just notice the middle sign changed. Here, 5 minus root 7 could be 5 plus root 7 for our conjugate. X plus 3 minus 5 could be root x plus 3 plus 5. So change the sign in the middle of the terms. This is considered a term all by itself. All right, square root of x minus root x plus 1. The conjugate would be root x plus root x plus 1. Notice that the sign on the inside of the square roots both times did not change. That stayed the same. It's only the sign in the middle that is changing at all. All right, so that's what the conjugate is. Now let's see how it helps us out. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to help us rationalize the denominator. So the cool thing here, the conjugate of my denominator, if I multiply that, let's see what happens. So I have root 5 minus 1. Whatever I multiply to the top, I have to multiply to the bottom. Or same. Multiply the denominator, you have to multiply the numerator. I have to multiply by 1. Root 5 minus 1, root 5 minus 1, that would divide to make 1, so I'm not changing the values of anything. All right, so if I multiply in my numerator, that would make 3 root 5 minus 3. Now in the denominator, this root 5 times root 5 will give me 5. Root 5 times negative 1 is minus root 5. 1 times root 5 is plus root 5. And then 1 times negative 1 is minus 1. So notice, negative root 5 plus root 5 makes 0. So I'm left with 3 root 5 minus 3, all divided by 5 minus 1, which would be 4. That's it. Done did it. All right, same sort of idea, moving forward. 3 over 2x minus 3. So I'll multiply by the conjugate. So root 2x plus 3, root 2x plus 3. So on my numerator, I'll multiply the 3 to both, so that becomes 3 root 2x plus 9 over 2x times 2x would give me just regular 2x roots, and then negative 3 times positive 3 would be minus 9. Notice I didn't pay attention to middle terms at all. The reason being, every time we multiply by the conjugate, these middle terms will go away. So I'm not even going to worry about messing with it and save myself some time. So really that's it. That's simplified. These 9s will not divide. Remember, I think it was Unit 1 of Semester B that we learned they have to be the same factor. So that's really as far as we can go with that one. That's it. All right. Same sort of idea with C. So I have the conjugate would be square root of x plus root x plus 2. So root x plus root x plus 2. So in my numerator, I'll distribute that 1 to both terms, so that just becomes root x plus 2 over, so now root x times x would give me x, and then negative root x plus 2 times root x plus 2 would be minus x plus 2. So now this one is one I can actually simplify, so I can distribute that negative, so that I'll leave the numerator alone, so root x plus 2 over x minus 2. Right, just distributing that negative. So x minus x will make 0. So really I have root x plus 2 over negative 2. They could also move this negative sign. They can make that positive there and make the negative out there. It means the same exact thing. Just don't forget that. All right, last one of today. So I have 5 over root x minus 1 plus root x. So make the conjugate of the denominator. Multiply top and bottom by that. So I'll have 5 times root x minus 1 minus 5 root x over x minus 1 minus x. Right, so root x minus 1 times root x minus 1 is that. Positive root x times negative root x makes minus x. So x minus x makes 0. And then I'm just dividing by that negative 1 now. So what I can say this is then is negative 5 times root x minus 1. And then negative divided by negative will make that plus root 5, or 5 root x. And that's it. All right. Again, please let me know what I can do to help you guys out. I will talk to you all soon, though. Bring your questions on. I'm here for you.